Have you ever wondered why your mind keeps running, restless, unsatisfied, always wanting something more? One desire gets fulfilled, and instantly another appears. A new phone, a new relationship, a new achievement, a new dream. And yet the heart remains strangely empty. It feels as if we are controlling our lives, but in reality, desires are controlling us. The Bhagavad Gita reveals a profound truth. Desire is the enemy that hides within you. An enemy so subtle, you don't even notice when it takes over your thoughts, your emotions, and your choices. In this video, we dive deep into why desires control your mind, the psychology of craving according to the Gita, how desire becomes anger, frustration, and suffering, and the powerful spiritual antidotes Krishna teaches to break free. This is not just philosophy. This is a practical roadmap to inner freedom, peace, and mastery over your own mind. Subscribe the channel and stay till the end. Let's begin. The nature of desire. Why desire feels so powerful? Krishna explains a simple but astonishing truth. From attachment, desire arises. Every desire starts with attachment, a subtle mental grip. You see something, you like it, your mind holds on to it. And now the object begins to control your emotions. Desire is not just wanting. Desire is the belief that your happiness depends on the fulfillment of that want. That belief gives desire enormous power. Why is desire so difficult to resist? You will be happy after you get this. You are incomplete without this. And we fall for this illusion again and again. Krishna says, desire is insatiable like fire. Fire never says enough. Give it more, it wants more. Feed it endlessly, it grows endlessly. Human desire works exactly the same way. The modern world says, buy more, earn more, consume more, achieve more, collect more. But the Gita asks, how much more until you discover that more is not the solution? How desire slowly starts controlling you. Desire doesn't control you suddenly. It happens step by step, exactly as the Gita describes. Krishna reveals an entire chain reaction. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa. From dwelling on objects, attachment is born. From attachment, desire arises. From desire, anger is born. Let's break this down. You think about something, a car, a person, a dream, a memory, you get attached. Your mind forms a link. This will make me happy. Desire arises. You start wanting it over and over until the wanting takes over your thinking. Desire becomes anger. When desires are blocked, it becomes anger. When desires are delayed, it becomes frustration. When desires are threatened, it becomes insecurity. When desires are fulfilled, it becomes temporary pleasure, followed by more desire. Krishna warns, desire and anger are born of the quality of passion. They consume and destroy your inner peace. Desire is not just a mental habit, it is the root of emotional turbulence. The psychological trap of desire. Modern psychologists say the same thing Krishna said 5,000 years ago. Desire works on the brain like a reward drug. You get a small dopamine hit when you expect something. Imagine getting it, chase it, receive it. But soon after, the pleasure drops and the chase begins again. This keeps you in a loop. Trigger to desire. Desire to action, action to reward. Reward to crash, crash to more desire. Krishna describes this cycle as, desire covers knowledge just as smoke covers fire. What does this mean? Desire blinds your intelligence. You stop seeing what is right, what is good, what is necessary, and you only see what I want. That is why desire becomes a master and you become the servant, when desire becomes the driver of your life. Think about this deeply. How many choices in your life are made consciously? And how many are made because of desire? Career choices, relationship choices, daily habits, decisions, opinions, emotions. Most people do not live their life, they live their desires. Krishna says, desire sits in the senses, mind, and intellect, and from there it manipulates the living being. This is powerful. Desire doesn't live outside. It lives inside in your senses. I want to see this, taste this, experience this. In your mind, I keep thinking about it. In your intellect, I justify why I should have it. Desire takes your inner instruments hostage, and you start believing, I am choosing freely, while in reality, desire is choosing and you are simply obeying. The consequences of being controlled by desire. Krishna gives one of the most profound warnings. A person overwhelmed by desire loses discrimination. What does this mean in practical life? You make emotional decisions. You fall into addictions. You say things you regret. You chase people who hurt you. You ruin your peace for temporary pleasure. You follow impulses instead of wisdom. And finally, he falls down into a miserable state. The Gita's teaching is clear. Desire-driven life always leads to suffering, because you are searching for happiness outside, in things that are themselves temporary. How do we break free from desire? Krishna gives a clear path. Freedom from desire doesn't mean removing all wants. It means removing inner slavery, the compulsion that forces you to chase endlessly. Krishna gives a complete step-by-step method. Step 1. Shift from desire-driven action to duty-driven action. Krishna teaches, perform your duty without attachment to results. This is the master key. When you do what is right, instead of what desire demands, desire automatically loses its power. Duty purifies. Desire pollutes. Step 2. Practice inner satisfaction, santosha. Krishna says, the self-controlled person finds peace because he is satisfied within. Desires become weak when the heart feels full. Like a person who is fed well doesn't crave junk food. Inner fullness is the antidote to craving. Step 3. Bring awareness to your desires. Before acting on a desire, pause and ask, is this necessary? Is this good for me? Is this impulse or wisdom? Is this desire controlling me? Krishna teaches mindfulness long before the word existed. By governing the mind with intelligence, one conquers desire. Awareness takes the steering wheel back from desire. Step 4. Control the senses before they control you. Krishna emphasizes, restrain the senses first. They are the doorways through which desire enters. Small tools help. Limit unnecessary temptations. Reduce exposure to triggers. Train discipline gradually. Practice moderation. Self-control is not punishment. It is protection. Step 5. Cultivate higher purpose. The most powerful teaching. A person who has a higher taste automatically loses lower desires. When you have a purpose, a mission, a calling, spiritual focus, you naturally stop chasing momentary pleasures. Lower desires fade away not by force but by replacement. Just like a child forgets a toy when given something truly valuable. When your life is aligned with a higher goal, desire stops controlling you. Purpose is the ultimate freedom, the state of a desire-free mind. Krishna describes the state of a liberated person. Someone desire can no longer control. He is steady, peaceful, unmoved by cravings, like the ocean filled by many rivers yet remains unchanged. This is such a beautiful image. Thousands of rivers flow into the ocean, but the ocean does not shake. Similarly, desires may appear in the mind, but the wise person remains calm, stable, and free. This state brings mental clarity, emotional strength, unshakable peace, freedom from fear, self-mastery. This is real success. This is real power. A practical daily routine to overcome desires. To make Gita's teaching practical, follow this simple daily routine. Morning mindset. 5 minutes of deep breathing. Read or listen to one verse from the Gita. Set intention. Today I will act from wisdom, not desire. Daytime awareness. When a desire arises, pause, observe, ask, is this useful or harmful? Choose action consciously. Evening reflection. Ask yourself, which desires controlled me today? Where did I act with discipline? Where did I lose control? Awareness builds strength. Night surrender. Krishna says, offer all actions to me. Before sleeping, mentally offer your actions, mistakes, and efforts to the divine. This purifies the heart. The spiritual shift, from wanting to being. The deepest teaching of the Gita is this: the soul is complete, eternal, ever satisfied. You don't need endless desires to feel whole. You are already whole. Desire creates the illusion that something is missing. Spiritual wisdom reveals that nothing is missing. When you realize this, cravings fall, jealousy disappears, comparison ends, insecurity melts, peace rises from within. This is the real meaning of breaking free from desire, discovering the inner completeness that no external object can give you. Desires are not your enemy. Your slavery to them is. You were not born to be dragged by cravings. You were born to rise above them. The Bhagavad Gita doesn't ask you to reject life. It asks you to live with clarity, balance, and mastery. You can enjoy the world without being controlled by it. You can use desires without being used by them. You can live fully without losing your soul to temporary pleasures. Krishna's message is clear. Conquer the mind, and you conquer the world. Freedom from desire is not the end of joy. It is the beginning of real, lasting joy. Thank you for joining us. We hope this video has offered you inspiration and insight on your own spiritual journey. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Keep practicing, keep growing, and keep walking the path of inner mastery.